3 hours is how long I've been looking through Roaring Kitty's tweets and his meme posts, and we got to talk about this Project We that is going on. Project We is the recent convertible bond offering, the Project We bond offering that was announced by GameStop. It was also something Ryan Cohen talked about in 2021, and it was also something now that Roaring Kitty hinted at in his posts, and we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Watch until the end of the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Since I research, I had to upload, record these for you for free, not in that order. Now, without further ado, in this movie, Fight Club, we'll start with this. At the very end of the film, just after the buildings explode and before the credits roll, there's a single frame slice of a penis, literally a "we" that flashes on screen. It's a final subversive joke referencing what Tyler says earlier in the film. In the projectionist booth, Tyler was a night person. He spliced single frames of pornography into family films. Nobody knows they saw it, but they did. Now, why is this so important? Well, at the end of the film, let's start with this. At the end of the film, they covered this with the Project We indenture right here, which is the same exact thing as the Project We that we see. Now, right before this was the end of the film where the buildings collapsed, and it came to that point where it flashed on screen. Now, this also ties with Roaring Kitty's scene from the Fight Club that he posted. The guy was falling on the bed. GameStop logo appeared very, very briefly. And slightly before this, we saw, I'll show you right here. Just got to go very slow for these frames. Right here, this crash sort of thing. That's not what it said, but it's the same exact colors as the same emoji. And then the guy falls, GameStop logo flashes on his way down. And at the end, Roaring Kitty puts this on screen. It's called a changeover. Now, this is very important. The narrator explains this as a changeover technique used by projectionists to switch reels, but Tyler uses it metaphorically and literally to break reality. The penis splice at the end is both a fourth wall breaking prank and a reminder Tyler's still in control, even of the movie you just watched. So this all goes deeper into something, somewhere, some way. I'm going to give you a possible scenario covering Project We very briefly, and I'm going to state right now I don't have 100% of what they were trying to tell us and tie us into right here, but we have a little bit of an idea of something else. Now, GameStop has 447,336,306 shares outstanding. The Project Rocket bond offering was the prior one, which allowed for a maximum issuance of 69 million shares based on a 37.5% maximum adjusted above the base conversion rate. Now, the Project We bond offering, which is the new one, allows for maximum issuance of 101,600,000 shares, or 121 million shares if the 450 million Greenshore option is exercised in the next 13 days, based on a 30.6 maximum adjusted above the base conversion price. All basically plain English. You don't need to know this down to the wire detail. I'm going to explain why. GameStop currently has a maximum share authorization of 1 billion shares set by the shareholders, so keep that in mind. Yes, I'm covering this post after I fact checked it. Base conversion prices are $29.85 and $28.91 respectively. The trigger for bondholders to have conversion privileges is GameStop closing above 130% of the conversion price on 20 out of the 30 last trading days in the preceding quarter for both bonds. So we have one opportunity this quarter that we'll talk about. But here's the difference, because they both had a lockout period at the beginning to prevent dilution from occurring too quickly. Now, Project Rocket's first trigger window begins this time with the last 30 trading days of this quarter. So that clock starts on Friday. So if GameStop doesn't close above 38.81 at least once in the next 10 trading days after that, then the last 20 trading days won't even matter for conversion purposes, and they can't convert in Q3. Now, Project We's first trigger window begins with the last 30 days of the next fiscal quarter. If GameStop closes 20 out of the 30 final trading days before November 1st above 37.58, then holders will be allowed to exercise conversion privileges in Q4. Now, holders will have the conversion option available to them every quarter as long as GameStop finishes the preceding quarter above their trigger price on 20 of the final 30 trading days. But if anyone holds onto their bonds for too long, then GameStop could elect to pay them their money back at 0% interest after about 3 years for the first bond and 4 years for the second, subject to certain conditions. So there's an optimization problem for holders to solve on when is the ideal time to convert once GameStop starts leaving the launch pad. Now, this is very interesting. What are the most likely scenarios? Well, the ideal outcome is let the share price run for the company organically above the bond conversion trigger levels at $38 plus, but not trigger full dilution immediately. Now, this puts pressure on shorts while keeping control over float growth. Let the price climb, volatility increase, media frenzy build, and then strategically allow conversion or don't allow it once the price is very high. Meanwhile, use the $2 billion cash or whatever from both bonds as buy opportunity, buy back, defend the float, so on and so on and so on. Now, here's the most likely scenarios based on the current setup and the current dilemma that shorts are facing. First of all, if you don't understand the plain English, bondholders are facing a dilemma. Convert early and risk selling too soon, or wait and GameStop redeems their bonds later with 0% interest. The longer they wait, the more power retail holds. Over 190 million shares could hit the market, but only if GameStop holds above $38 for weeks. Now, the first window opens June 21st and ends June 30th. So the next window we have to look at here is basically the end of June. The end of June, something has to happen where GameStop gets a massive V-shaped recovery and we come and we play around with this price up here. Now, what's so interesting is now that we know the details on this, we obviously couldn't see the second bond offering coming. We saw why they dicked around with the price when we hit $37.50. They did everything they possibly could in their power to get this away from that conversion price, right around $38. They didn't even want the chance there. Now, short term, here's the most likely scenario. According to ChatGPT, GameStop flirts with the $35 to $38 range between now and June 30th. So that would be massive moves from now to June 30th. Now, the rocket conversion trigger price, $38.81. If it fails to stay above that level for 20 to 30 trading days at the end of the quarter, no dilution can happen in Q3, which would be bullish short term as it keeps the float tight and shorts pinned. So expect price games when we get to that level, which is exactly what we saw last time. We saw some bullshit games happen up here, but it's technically bullish for the short term. Now, if there's no rocket dilution in Q3, but stock gains momentum again, say $45 plus, shorts start panicking, new call buyers, FOMO, gamma ramp, and trap shorts can trigger natural squeezes. Project We window opens September 17th with low trigger at $37.58. At this point, GameStop may allow conversion price if price is very high, locking in huge capital with less dilution. This is likely when GameStop wants dilution to occur. If the stock price is way higher, they can raise max capital with minimal downside. So put very simply, we have two windows for GameStop to make some beautiful moves. We'll talk about the charts in a second, but we also have a very, very small gamma ramp building as GameStop decides that it wants to push higher. So it's something that we have to pay attention to as well, even though they got it knocked down last time. Now, GameStop has been climbing, but alongside my indicator giving a drop price target down to 22, I do have a possible scenario for you guys. I believe we are right here somewhere in GameStop, okay? And I've said it last time and I'll say it again. That puts us right in this zone, right in this square. This is the cycle I think that we're in, and on a larger time frame, a larger step back, this is exactly where I see these three gray boxes. There's one back here where you had this pop, this bottom before squeezing higher, and then you had the same thing back here, spike, bottom, rip higher, same thing right here. All of them overlaid. They bring you to this sort of scenario. Now, this doesn't have to happen based on the catalyst that we have going forward, but GameStop basically retraces bottoms at 20. So basically, we could get possibly another sell-off here, and this is a point I wanted to bring up with FOMC. I talked to Discord about it. If this isn't the move, I won't start with this, actually. We have FOMC today, okay, put very simply. SPY is going to be affected. I don't know how SPY is going to be affected. No one really knows what is going to get announced. We assume rates are going to be held steady, possibly hinting at further or sooner cuts, which is dovish for the market. Now, this could be a reaction where big money sells the news and retail buys in. All that put aside, if the SPY sells off, GameStop's likely to sell off with it temporarily. Okay, I don't think that they are going to move aside each other, but again, like I said, temporarily. Now they can move separate. GameStop can have a negative delta and squeeze while SPY dumps if it is the move. What I mean by that is if it's the move to 60, 80, 120, 160, 300, right? Depending on what we get to, if it's that move, if it's the short squeeze, then that would likely happen, right? You're going to see that negative delta. But what we want to see happen is SPY sell off, shorts pile in, and then we get that V-shaped recovery. It's how it happened every single time. And on that V-shaped recovery, we see GameStop, AMC start squeezing. Okay, that would be mid to late July. And that is ultimately what we're looking at. It doesn't have to happen this way, but I'm just pointing out the obvious, pointing out possibilities with the next big catalyst that we see. So if SPY dumps, AMC and GameStop could flash lower before coming right into a V-shaped recovery early July and peaking late July, right? Mid-late July. So this is something that we are watching for. There's a lot of tin here, but it's really not tin because it was hinted at. It was basically predetermined. Let me know your thoughts on it in the comments down below. Put very simply, there's a lot of complications with the bond offerings and with the people who have the bonds. The bond offering did close yesterday like we expected. And what that means is, in my opinion, we just have a floor price set still on GameStop, removing the logarithmic scale here, right here. Last time the conversion price closed, we were trading right here, which, put very simply, you're likely just building that same base set, same floor. GameStop would probably come down, retest, maybe trade sideways for longer, like I have drawn out here, or maybe we rip right out of this since the conversion is complete. Okay, either way, what you can take out of this is bullish, bullish, bullish. Above 20 bullish, under 20 bullish. Reason being is because GameStop now has $8 billion plus in cash. You break under that, I mean, we're trading at a $10.5 billion market cap. You get under 20, it starts getting risky as shit for anyone shorting the stock, because any sort of buyback is going to drastically launch this thing higher. Ultimately, guys, that is what I got for you for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed watching or found value out of the video. We will talk about FOMC when it comes out, possibly tonight, but likely tomorrow. And we're going to see how it affects the market, how it affects GameStop. Maybe we see some moves here. Maybe this is going to be the catalyst. But what we do know is that we had the crash, in my opinion, and now we are in the changeover, which is, I think, the final scene of Roaring Kitty's masterpiece. And this is ultimately what I see happening. I think it's too risky to try and make drastic changes to your positions, as in transferring assets or DRSing, because those processes take a little bit, or moving options around. That can be quick, but again, where you're at, you're probably taking losses for less of all this other stuff, right? I think it's just very complicated to try and move things around. The best thing that I'm doing personally, in my opinion, again, nothing I say is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. If we go green, maybe roll some options as IV stays low, just to later dates, right? But that is it, guys. I love you all. Make sure to join the Discord server. It's a top link in the description. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel right here. Discord, we have tons of benefits in there. I post my trades as soon as I take them. When we talk stocks and crypto with the most amazing people, best fives, best family, guys, come be part of it. That is it. I love you all. God bless. Lottery Stocks out.